So Abbas from Pakistan has said, my number one tennis frustration is when the opponent hits at full pace, I am standing at the middle of the court at the baseline and still I am unable to reach the ball. The pace of the ball is even faster than the full speed of my sprint to the ball. Well, Abbas, let's talk about that. When you're having to move to a wide ball, the best thing to do is to get onto the ball of the feet so you move out to the ball. Probably is what is happening a lot of the time is that when you're moving onto your heel first. So here's a very good tip. You want to make sure that your base is nice and wide so when you move to the ball, you naturally drop onto that ball of the foot so you can explode out to the ball. Bruce Lee famously said, be like water, my friend. So the next progression on that is to actually flow. So if I want to get faster on the court, I also can cut down a step. Instead of going split and then taking that second step, if I can be up on my toes and then flow out to the ball, I cut down a step and that makes me much quicker. So in summary, get nice and wide, push off with the ball of the feet. If you can get up on your toes and flow out to the ball, that's even faster. That should help you get that wide ball. Richard from the US says, my number one tennis frustration is not being ready to hit cleanly when I have to chase down a shot. Well, Richard, when I teach contact moves, I talk about how to contact the ball. But a really important thing about hitting cleanly and isn't talked about a lot in tennis is use of the non-dominant leg. That is what gives you alignment. So for instance, if I'm moving out to a wide ball and I don't kick that leg back, which gives me my balance, I'm going to hit that ball into the net. If I move back for a deep ball and my leg is straight, I'm going to fall off balance. If I get a low ball and I don't do what I call a back knee drop, I'm going to come up on the ball and probably hit it out. So use of the non-dominant leg is very, very important in tennis and is really not overemphasized enough in the learning of tennis. So just remember, use that back leg, understand how to use that non-dominant leg to give you alignment and to give you balance, and you will hit a lot cleaner when you play. Greg from the USA says, my number one tennis frustration is floating mid-court balls. Much trouble putting them away cleanly. Well, that's a big problem in a lot of tournaments, because imagine how frustrating it is when you work really hard to set up that point, you get that easy ball and you miss it time and time again. All your opponent has done is just floated that ball back. You deserve to win the point. So let's go through 3 different footwork patterns that I like, and then I'll talk more about that. So I call it gold, silver, and bronze medal selection. And the best way to do this is to get someone to throw up a floating ball to you like you talked about and experiment and find out what suits you. There's no right or wrong, it's whatever works for you. Some players are a little bit more advanced and like the more elevated shot, which I call a transfer, where you set your feet up into a semi-open stance and bring this leg and snap this leg through and curl the leg back. That is one option. What I like about the transfer is you can hold the shot. So if your opponent's in the middle, they won't be able to read your shot. Another one you can try on the high floating ball is a high step down, which means you're going to take the ball a little bit earlier, you're going to make contact and you're going to kick that leg back and you're going to pivot on this foot, which is again a high step down. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive and maybe go into the net on that high floating ball, then I would recommend a front foot hop, where you load the weight onto the front leg and you hop forward and continue into the net. So in summary, get someone to throw you a ball, semi-open stance, try a transfer, get someone to throw you a floating ball, step down, kick the leg back and pivot through, and finally, hop. Have a look at the result of your shot, and then you've got your gold, silver and bronze medal. It's actually good to have all 3 because all 3 have different tactical intentions. But look, just have some fun experimenting with all of them and see if you can do the Roger Federer take early shot, or win you lots of matches if you don't miss and can put that one away. Sigrid from the USA. I'm a fairly athletic amateur, but my quickness on the court is limited due to the fact that I move more like a runner than a tennis player. What would be the number one adjustment I can make to improve my footwork? Well, it's funny because, you know, there's a little saying here in Australia where we go, I'm a little teapot. You don't want to move around the court like a little teapot on your toe. It's okay, like I have talked about previously, when you need to get out into that wide ball to drop onto that toe. But when the ball is in more of a comfort area, it is much better to lead with the foot closest to the ball and lead with your heel first. So for instance, if you want to take one step to the ball, lead with the heel. Always lead with the heel first. If you want to take 2 steps, or just rhythm. Tennis is a game of back foot, front foot. So the worst thing you can do when you need to move to the ball is to close off too early and have your weight set on this front foot. Again, if you want to take 3 steps to the ball, 1 heel, 2, 3, what I call cha-cha-cha steps. Once you get beyond those cha-cha-cha steps, then you can start to get onto your toe. But when you need to move 1, 2 or 3 steps, make sure you're moving on your heel first. That'll give you good body alignment and you don't need to rush. I feel if you're feeling that you're always moving on your toes, it's going to keep your body up and you're not going to be sinking down nice and low, which is the key to playing good tennis.